Welcome to Conscious Profits Unfiltered. This is your host, Sebastian Nam.
What up, fam? Today, I had on Forward Collective founder, Jenna Greene. Jenna has spent the past 15 years of her career as a marketing and media strategist with a focus on social responsibility. She works at the intersection of philanthropy, entertainment, and business and conceptualizes and implements large-scale movements and socially responding branding strategies aimed at building awareness, revenue generation, and action around a shared purpose. She works with big names such as LegalZoom, the Los Angeles Clippers, the LA Dodgers Foundation, Buzzfeed, and more. Today we talked about how important it is for brands to ingrain social impact into the ethos of the company and how it's not too late to do it, even if a company has been around for a long time and didn't have that built in the past. If you're someone who gets value from this show, please share it with a friend, tag me on social, and definitely subscribe. It means the world to me. I appreciate you spending time with us. Enjoy the show. What's up, Jenna? Welcome to the show.
Hello. It's so good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Stoked to have you. You just got back from Mexico City. You went on a ridiculous eating spree. If anyone's been there, they know it's so good.
God. It's amazing. I recommend it to everyone. I had the best time, and I'm still recovering from all the food that I ate.
I love it. I did the same when I went. I had an awesome time. So good. Jenna, what was your last oh shit moment? Whatever comes to mind when you think, oh shit, when was the last time that happened?
Shit, Sebastian, that's a lot. It's a lot. I have a lot of those lately. You know what it is? Honestly, it's like, did I turn off the straightener? I'll walk out of my house, I'll get in my car, and then I'm like, did I turn off my straightener? Like, and then sometimes, honestly, I go all the way back up and I check and it's off. But really, it's like, it haunts me. It really haunts me. I would say I did that this morning. Not gonna lie.
That's a no shit thing. You drove back this morning?
Yeah. I would say like a few times a week, I sometimes like turn around and repark and say, oh shit.
That's epic. I feel like would anything really bad happen if the straightener's left on?
I don't know.
I feel like it's a myth. I think it's a myth.
I think it is too. Like it'll maybe automatically turn off or just like sit there and be hot. I don't know.
It's gonna sit there and be hot. Like, were you ever told you can't go to the pool after you eat? I think it's like one of those myths that like dads tell daughters and kids. They're just lying to you.
Maybe.
Hair straighteners and pool after you eat. They're both in the same category.
They're lying. Yeah.
Jenna, why do you feel that it's important to be a conscious human, period?
What do I feel like it is? What does it mean to be?
Why do you think it's important to be a conscious human, period? What does it mean to you? And why is it even important?
It's everything. Really, it truly is everything, especially with what's going on right now. We need people who have empathy. We need to be, open and kind to one another. I mean, in order for the world to be a better place to live in for everyone, we need to be conscious. We need to be, open and really understanding of people and differences and everything. It's a lot happening right now. I think everyone feels it a little bit.
Yeah. I find that as we're on paths to increase our consciousness, we realize how many times in our lives we were living unconsciously. Do you think of a period of your time in your life that you were consistently living life more unconsciously, or can you think of something that you did that was very unconscious?
I think, when I was younger, for sure. I don't think I was as intentional as I am now in the things that I do or the people that I surround myself with or the work that I put my energy towards. It takes time and, ups and downs and failures and success to kind of figure out, oh, wait, okay, now I can be way more thoughtful about what I'm doing.
So the intention behind things for you, it sounds like, has a lot to do with consciousness.
Yeah, for sure. To be, aware of and thoughtful, and that can be consciousness. I think, I know you know this better than I do, but can really be anything. It's like spiritual, it's being active and present, it's being, however you kind of execute on your work and your value systems. I think it's pretty broad in how you do it, right? I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, the topic that we're going to be talking about today and what you do has to do with social impact and with brands. And so to me, that's a way that consciousness is brought into business. And I think in general, like you said, being present, having intention behind things, that also brings consciousness. It doesn't mean that necessarily it's good. We associate it with good. People can be consciously not good, right?
True.
They can be intentionally, bad. We can get super deep into what's good and bad to whatever. Right? We get super philosophical, but we don't have to go that there. So like over the last 20 years, for example, brands and companies and businesses have really started caring about social impact. Why do you think all of a sudden, 20 years is a long time, but it's really not in sort of the large array of time and businesses? Like, why do you think over the last 20 years, all of a sudden brands care, they give a shit about being conscious or having social impact?
Well, I think a lot of it comes down to consumers, and consumers are more vocal now. They are going to call out companies for, asking what they stand for, and if something feels inauthentic and fake or gimmicky, they'll say it. So brands have to be smarter now. I think it comes down to that. There's a demand from the consumer saying, we want you, company X, to give back, to have a voice, to be present in the social issue areas that are going on in right now. And also with the generation change, the younger generation is a lot more kind of involved in this, and has kind of really, from a groundswell up, really kind of pushed these companies to pay attention. And I think that's part of it. I would say.
Yeah, I agree. And so companies, a lot of them just don't have a choice anymore. It's not necessarily they came with it innately. And that's probably also a product of just globalization and the internet, right? Brands can get put on blast now. So,
Yes, big time.
A lot of it could be reactionary, unfortunately. But hey, it's a good change either way for whatever reason. It's happening. Jenna, you strategize for companies like LegalZoom, the LA Clippers, the Los Angeles Dodgers Foundation, Buzzfeed, and a ton of other well-known companies. What does a company like this come to you and ask for? What does that look like?
Yeah. Well, I think, and this is another reason to the first question of why brands, I think, are starting to be more thoughtful in this space too, is that you can, years ago, it used to be more just philanthropy. How is a company going to give philanthropic dollars? But now it's really evolved, and it's more ingrained into kind of the DNA of a culture and the DNA of a brand. And how does impact kind of be able to be a complement to all verticals of a business? So it's not just about writing a check anymore. So when a company comes to me, it's like, okay, we are going to look at how you can create impact, purpose-driven social impact through different verticals of your business. Part of it can be giving, part of it can be employee giving, but let's look at it through marketing. Let's look at product. Let's look at kind of the entire scope and all the different verticals of the business that we can utilize to create impact in whatever issue area or issue areas that matter to the brand. So that's what I help build. That's what I help kind of integrate into these companies, into the ethos, and kind of bring in the right partnerships and go from there.
I like that you said that you help bring it into the ethos.
Yeah.
So it's not just one little campaign here or there. It's how can we actually ingrain this into the DNA, even though just the phrase that, using this, the using DNA in a company means that it's something is pre-existing. But I feel that now you can alter DNA, right? So you're essentially, in a way, you can try to alter the DNA of a company and ingrain social impact, even though it wasn't there before.
Yes, you can. And I think everyone, if it's not there now, you can do it. Like, it's something you should do. It's something you can do. And I am more than happy to help talk it out with you. It's like, I love it. I mean, it's my favorite thing. I really find there's a uniqueness in every company. So it's also like, what's unique to the company that you can leverage to create impact? And that's special,
Yeah,
special.
that's super cool. How does social impact drive revenue for companies? And if it does, can it actually be directly correlated?
I think it definitely can. It definitely can. It depends what it is. It depends on the company and whether, what you're actually selling. If you're a law firm, if your actual product, or whatever it may be. So there's different ways of looking at it. And also there's different ways of looking at ROIs. So from a bottom line perspective, if you're trying to drive sales on something, there could be a partnership that you do with a nonprofit or some type of give back program where you're going to be tapping into other channels to help you drive whatever this product is, which can increase sales. So you're building stories, you're building partnerships that could create more PR, that could create more marketing, that could put you in front of places that you wouldn't have been otherwise for a particular thing, so to speak. In terms of sometimes the intangibles, it's engagement. Sometimes these things aren't necessarily, don't necessarily have like you can pinpoint everything, but it's a feeling and it's an engagement, it's community building, which ultimately does result in sales, in fans of your brand, in word of mouth marketing. There's just a lot of ways to look at it. If that answers your question at all.
No, yeah, it does. Sometimes it's a tough thing to talk about with companies.
Yeah.
It's sentiment is such a huge part of that, and
Mhm.
a sentiment with a company that is built off of social impact is so important. It does so much for a brand and can bring so much,
Yeah.
success to the brand, which
Yeah.
is awesome.
Yeah.
Last time we were talking about the sort of the difference between just giving back
Mhm.
or writing a check, what you were just mentioning just
Mhm.
a second ago too. But what do you feel about companies that just donate or give, and how that could actually create a problem with some lower income communities and societies? Do you see an importance there between just giving versus facilitating?
Yeah. Well, it's tough because, for me, who's really rooted in philanthropy, grew up very philanthropic and volunteering, in some circumstances, I want to say it's whatever you can do is good. If
Yeah.
whatever you're able to give or whatever you're able to be involved in your way is unique to you, as long as you are being active in your community or active in some capacity. But it is important to look at the sustainability of things. And when you are looking at giving, let's say you are kind of figuring out, because I do work with some like high net worth individuals too. And when we're kind of strategizing on giving, is it sustainable? Are we putting money towards, social entrepreneurs who are like building these incredible companies that are actually for profit, but are actually also then building community and systems in other areas so that everyone is becoming self-supporting. So it's like a yes and no answer.
Yeah.
No, it's tough.
Yeah, it's a tough line. Yeah, for sure. There's definitely some projects out there that are really doing an incredible job in helping facilitate. But self-sustaining projects are tough. I definitely think it's better to give and to
Yeah.
do good than to do nothing,
Yeah.
for sure. And hopefully we can create more of these sort of self-sustaining projects, or at least kickstart things with the giving, and then be able to help those things move along.
Yeah. And I think the more of these, like the Tom's models or Allbirds or some of these like B corporations, like companies are starting to be more vocal and visible and like have some of these components to it where they're really trying to, whether it's environmental, whether it's hiring in local areas, like there are some amazing companies doing good things out there.
Yeah. Hey guys, I just want to remind you, if you want to find more content like this, you can visit sebastiannaum.com. That's Sebastian, Naum.com. You can also get a ton of other marketing resources from myself and my agencies, ranging from SEO to social media, influencer marketing, branding, web development, and more. Again, that's Sebastiannaum.com. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Yeah.
Do you think that consumers are really starting to learn those labels, such as you said certified B corporations, and we live, in Los Angeles, it's different. Do you think that, how do you feel about that movement? Do you think that that's going to be really well known soon enough?
It's a good question. Because we sit in a little bit of a bubble. And especially I do, because I really live in this world.
Yeah.
I do think people are becoming more aware. I think people are starting to notice, but whether we all understand exactly what social entrepreneurship or what a B corporation means, maybe not necessarily know the details. But I actually do think even some of these big retailers who are starting to have information in their stores, or kind of like a shoe drop at a local actually I was in Nordstrom's and there was like a shoe drop there for recycling certain things. And I think it's just starting slowly to just kind of be in the zeitgeist of now, which is what I love. I hope I want to see more of it,
So do
but
I.
I've
Yeah.
done that for so long, my whole career. So it's interesting to see it kind of be more present.
There's this common perception that any conscious brand, or sort of like any organic food that's good for you, or conscious brand that gives back, et cetera, is going to be much more expensive. Do you think that's true?
Certain areas, yeah, it is. I mean, there's food deserts all over the place that where communities are trying to solve those problems and make sure people have access to healthy fruits and vegetables. I've taken groups actually to schools in lower income areas that are starting to build and grow, not build, but grow their own gardens. And that is a source. They turn into these community gardens for their families. And it's amazing. I took a group of about 30 actually prior to the pandemic to go, and we volunteered and just helped them upkeep the garden so that it was like in good shape for everybody and the students, and there were kids there. It was amazing. It was a safe place for people. So yes, I think we're trying to figure out ways, the stakeholders in certain areas are trying to figure out, how do we solve that problem? Because it is harder to access healthy food.
Yeah. And then just products in general. Like if you're going to buy a t-shirt from a fast fashion company that they're selling it for, $5, $7, versus buying a sustainable brand that's going to charge you, $60.
Yeah.
Just not available
Yeah.
to a lot of people. And what I like about that is hopefully that, those brands are growing. There's more and more demand for sustainable companies, that hopefully that makes it so that hopefully their costs go down because there's more demand for them. And if their costs go down, then they can become more available to people that maybe don't have as much, that can afford it,
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite project that you worked on?
Oh man, there's so many over the years. That's a tough question because I work on a lot of different issue areas, and have for a long time, and really can't even. I don't know. They're also different. They're also special to me. That's not the answer you want, is it? I don't
I
know.
could ask you what your least favorite one is. I don't think you'd want me to ask you that.
I don't know. I don't think there is one either. They're all so nice. I would say,
Give me a highlight.
what I'm doing now, I'm doing a lot of it, and it's been really meaningful and really impactful, are these like very high level convenings around certain issue areas that are bringing together big thinkers across different industries. And we're sitting down and unpacking some really big problems. And really
For
like,
example?
an example, I do a lot in DE&I, do a lot in disability inclusion specifically. And a lot of times when we're talking about diversity, disability is left out of the conversation.
Okay.
And it shouldn't be at all. I work with Easter Seals. They're the largest disability service provider in the country. And what we're doing actually here in Los Angeles is starting to talk about the disparity in access to autism services for families of color and low income groups. The disparity is a big problem. So kids are not being diagnosed or getting the services that they need to set them up for success, like some of their counterparts. And what we're doing here in LA is starting to bring people together in the entertainment business, at different brands, different media companies, talent agents, all different types of people together to really talk about this issue, so that then we can go follow up with them together. We go together and we're like, okay, so knowing where you sit in your company, what are we going to do together to fix this? And like, things are actually happening. It's amazing to see what's come out of these conversations and the activations that are coming forward through that. So I'm really loving it right now. So if you have to pick a favorite, like I'm just really loving these like very personal, very kind of intimate conversations.
Is this a specific project that has a name?
No, it's not. This is more of just something that I am doing with our brand and with our company, and then with clients to really start educating people.
So it's one of your newer strategies. Essentially, you're having these conversations with leaders and companies, sharing these sort of disparities of people with disabilities in certain lower income societies and communities, and seeing what they can do about it. And then people are actually doing stuff about it. Companies are doing it.
It's always been we've always done them, but for some reason, maybe it's a post-COVID thing, that coming together and being together and solving problems together just feels really nice right now. I think maybe it's more of that. But in terms of actual campaigns, and I think, God, we've done some really fun things over the years. I mean, and unexpected. That's what I like. I like using comedy to talk about hard stuff sometimes.
That's so weird. You just said that. I was literally, that was the next thing I was going to ask you. I find that humor and fun is so damn important in work, in the workplace, in business.
Yeah.
You think that work and fun is an important piece of social impact initiatives?
Yes. Oh my God, for sure. I mean, we do a lot of curated volunteer experiences for companies, and we just did one. What's today? On Monday. And created this entire competition between employees and staff, and like, they had the time of their lives, because you're in the grind with these people every day, you're working every day, like, and then you kind of have this fun kind of talking trash to each other. I'm going to beat you. And it was like this incredible organization that I really love. It's called the Crayon Initiative. And it's taking crayons and sorting them, and then they get melted back down, and then they're sent to children's hospitals all across the country. I mean, it's a whole thing I can get into later, but anyway, yes, it's fun. People, when you're engaging and you're having fun or you're competing, you just and you don't even realize you're actually doing something really good. You just don't even think about it. You're like, oh my God, I'm actually like giving back. I'm volunteering. I'm giving my time, and I'm having so much fun doing it.
That's awesome. And I'm sure that the people that are receiving that on the other end, it's so much better to receive it with a fun energy than to just, sort of just being given out of pity or something. It's just so different.
Yeah.
The engagement between the two sides,
Yeah.
So that's super cool. I love that.
It's fun.
Jenna, do you serve on the advisory board of the USC Marshall School of Business, Whittingham Social Enterprise Lab? That sounds super fancy, super cool title.
Yeah.
Tell me what that is all about. What does that look like?
That's so cool. I mean, I wish it was there when I was in school. I'll tell you that much. It's this program that is utilizing business to solve problems, and it's giving students the tools and resources they need to do that. And so it's at USC, it's at Marshall, it's an MBA concentration, it's a minor, it's a master's, and it's just, people who are interested in this space that, maybe don't necessarily want to work for a nonprofit, or maybe not sure where they want to, or what they want to do, or how to engage in this space. This program helps you figure that out. And it's such an honor to help advise that program. It's been there now, gosh, over a decade. But, not while I was in school, so I'm not going to date myself any more than I already am, but you know what I mean? It's wonderful. Actually just had a meeting with a fellow board member this morning. So, I mean, has an incredible career in sustainability, and, has worked at a big studio for a long time, just really good people. And the classes, I mean, I want to sit in all the classes and learn so much.
What an amazing thing.
Yeah.
Have the opportunity to learn this in school. This definitely wasn't around when we were in school. It sure wasn't. And even when we were in high school, which, fun fact for anyone listening out there, Jenna and I actually went to high school together. And even when, I feel that when we were in high school, giving back and doing good was almost like associated with church or something like that, or like church or volunteering. And there was I don't want to say that there was a bad or nerdy stigma around it, but it was not the cool stigma that is now become. And I think it's freaking epic that that's where we're at today. And good is, in fact, the new cool in a lot of ways. And I love that.
Yeah, it's true. It is the cool thing now. I think it was, I don't know why I remember this, but I do. I think there was like a list of certain things of like what to do, and the top 10 from I can't remember who it was, but some very influential person. And I just remember number 10 was like, be nice to nerds. So like the nerds who are like maybe doing really cool things and giving back and volunteering, like, we're cool. I was that person. Total nerd. A cool nerd. Oh,
that's great. That's great. I love that. Jenna, what are the top 2 traits that you feel a conscious leader must embody today?
Empathy, I think, is definitely one. And I think you always have to be a student of your craft. So leaders even like you have to be curious. You have to be curious. You have to be always have an open mind, because the way that the world continues to change all the time, every day, it's like we wake up, it's like, what's next? We have to be agile. We have to be constantly be able to move and be flexible. And I think good leaders, good captains, they have to embody that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm.
It's so easy to get stuck and you do something well and it has success and you've got this sort of structure and now it's like easy, you can kind of coast. But if you do that, you get lost, and things change and you have to be able to change. So I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well,
I think so.
thank you so much for being a conscious leader. Definitely acknowledge you. You're definitely one yourself, and
Thanks.
keep doing what you do. As people want to get a hold of you, they're going to have access in the links in the
Right.
notes for Forward Collective and to get a hold of you directly and all that good stuff. You're doing amazing things. So keep doing you, Jenna. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being on.
Thanks for having us on, and keep telling these stories. It's so great. You're really like opening up a lot of minds with what you're doing and bringing people on and sharing experiences in this world. It's really important. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Jenna.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Cool.
Hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. It takes a lot to put these things together, but I truly love doing it. If you enjoyed this episode or the show in general, and you listen to it on audio podcast, please take some time to give it a review. It would really mean a lot to me. And if you watch the video, please go ahead and just click subscribe and share it with somebody that you think would like it. It would really mean the world to me and it helps keep the show alive. Visit sebastiannaum.com for more content and follow me on Instagram at sebnaum. That's SEBNAUM. Thanks again for spending your time with me. I know it is valuable. I hope you have a great rest of the day and week. Till next time.